What's going on, Internet? I'm Christopher Peterson, and you're listening to the Nerd EXP Gamecast. This week I'm hanging out with Kasdan,
Hello.
Joseph,
Greetings.
and Brooks.
Hello.
Each week, members of the blogging community get together to go through the top gaming headlines to help you level up your gaming IQ. Kasdan and Joe are new first-timers, so I'm going to let them give a little bit of background on where they come from, maybe their favorite games, or whatever they want to talk about for a little bit. So, Kasdan, who are you and what makes you awesome?
I'm Kaz Risk. I've just been meandering about the MyIGN community for a little over a month now. I started back in April and just kind of got the inkling to start writing about video game content. It seems like there's lots of Let's Plays and discussions online and podcasts, but from what I had noticed, there weren't many written discussions going on, and plenty of stuff going on MyIGN, but I just wanted to contribute to that. And so for the past month, I've just been writing hopefully thought-provoking content for people to enjoy every single weekday, which that's starting to become a struggle after a month of making sure there's quality weekday content. But it's been awesome, been definitely rewarding to see people comment with positive remarks, get discussion going, and even get featured a few times. It's just been an incredible blessing, and so I'm hoping to continue that on through the summer, and then starting in the fall, I'm going to be doing Let's Plays, video reviews, and taking my past, at that point it'll be about 3 or 4 months, I'm going to take every weekday blog and make it into a video discussion as well. And so plenty of cool things happening in the future and some cool stuff already happening already. So be sure to check that all out on ign.com/blog/Kazrisk, I think is where you can find it. Kazrisk.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good, and I agree with you. The written word is dying.
Yeah.
I feel like every site I visit, Destructoid, Polygon, IGN, the video to blog ratio from the editors and the creators is skyrocketing in favor of videos.
Mm-hmm. And beyond that, like, if there is any written content, it's often beyond. If there is any written content, it's usually just straight facts, news discussion, just getting the information out, and any actual kind of interpretation and opinions is more in the podcast format. And so I kind of wanted to take the news and actually discuss it through the blog and all that instead of just being a reporter, because I learned very quickly that if I was just to report the news with my blog, it would be outdated immediately because I just don't have the time or resources to get that stuff out there very quickly. And so I wanted to go with the more interpretation route.
No, I think you're doing a great job. Find a niche and make it work for you, and you create good content that resonates with the MyIGN fans, and keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
What about you, Joe?
I am. I'm new to the MyIGN family as well. I'm a far less competent conversationalist and contributor than Kaz is. Clearly, did a very good job. Panhandling himself. I won't be able to do just as much, really. I just kind of started off, contributing to the MyIGN community around the beginning of the year, kind of like as a resolution type thing. And I've just been, filtering in and out, mostly commenting on people's stuff, but then every now and then writing stuff that's been on my mind. And recently only just, trying to contribute to different things that, other bloggers have been putting in there, like Lost in Translation stuff, His stuff has really been what I've been trying to follow and you too. Really just, trying to get in there and talk about stuff that I like and have fun, really. So yeah, I don't really have as much official stuff lined up, but just trying to get in and start talking some interesting gaming news and such. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
I mean, I think you're doing a good job. I wouldn't belittle yourself. You've had a couple posts promoted on the front page. You've had good interactions, and not to insult anybody else, but I mean, you have complete sentences and full structures and full thoughts.
Sorry, I'm getting some breaking up. Sorry, hold on.
There's some blogs that don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep proofreading my content and stuff because I noticed there's lots of stuff going on there that people just tear apart and stuff, where if you have one small grammatical error, people will just rip you to shreds, even though you may have had a very compelling point. And so I try to proofread a lot and stuff, but it's nice to see when people actually encourage full, complete sentences and grammar and spelling and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, great point regarding, kind of that wart in the sentence, and people will nitpick you on that no matter how thought-provoking and deep it is. If it's kind of written choppy and broken, that just becomes more of a distraction, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely heartening to hear, that my work is somewhat competent because, my I English very wrong, if you know what I mean. I've never been the best writer, but I have, like you've guys been trying to proofread and stuff. But even then, just looking at it 5 minutes after I posted, I'm like, oh my goodness, look at this atrocious sentence. I have to go back and re-edit it. But then people have already seen it, and I just, again, I just, get very self-deprecating and stuff. But I try to do what I can, and hopefully I'll get better as I keep going.
All right, jumping straight into the news. Thank you guys for those introductions. Witcher 3 graphics are getting kind of beat around right now. The background on this is that it's not as good as the vertical slice that was shown before the game came out. Then the game came out and everybody kind of did a comparison, very reminiscent of Watch Dogs from last year, and are pointing fingers and saying that this isn't what they were promised. And the company was very upfront about it, and they said, look, that was a vertical slice. And then they got called out for the PC version not being as great, and they said, we had to make the game a little bit less graphically intense to accommodate the Xbox One and PS4 versions, and this game wouldn't exist if we only had a PC player base to sell to. So just kind of suck it up. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
One of the things I really liked from his comment, and the thing you just said there, was without the console version, there would be no PC version. And I love my gaming PC. I play games on my computer all the time, so I'm not against PC elitists. I understand how you can put so much work and dedication into building your computer, and you want to be rewarded for that money and investment. But at the same time, I think there is a value in the console gaming too, and I don't like that bickering back and forth between the communities. And so I liked that this developer just went all out and said, look, you guys need each other because we need the sales from the console people, but we also need that demand for graphics from the computer community as well. And so I appreciated that, and it seemed like the comment section in IGN was also kind of praising that one remark. And so I wanted to touch on that briefly. But honestly, I think the game still looks beautiful. The only thing that really looks odd to me is just the character models. They seem a little bit bland from what we initially saw, but it looks fluid. There's sunsets in the game, and there's forests in the game that look remarkable. And so, if you think the game's ugly in any way, you have a problem or something, because it's still a remarkable looking game, and definitely one to pick up.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I definitely feel what you're saying. I come from the other side of the spectrum, I guess, because I'm primarily a console gamer.
Not to interrupt, you almost sound like you're whispering.
Oh, okay, hold on. Might be now, is this any better?
Not really.
How about this? How about now?
We'll just go with it. You were better whatever you were doing pre-show.
Not sure what I changed. Hold on. Why don't you let Brooks go and talk? Brooks, do you have anything to add while I try and fix this?
That's a negative. You guys pretty much covered it very well.
And the last thing to say, part of this coming out, they did say that they are releasing a PC patch to up the graphics, and a console will follow. So they are, still working on their best to make that. But I wouldn't expect much. It's not going to be a new game.
It seemed, I watched the graphic comparison video between the two console versions and the PC, and the PC did look a tad better, and I think obviously the PC players want it to be much, much better and be what they saw initially. And it's kind of unfortunate that it got held back so much, because you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, which is able to excel much more beyond the console versions on the computer without the consoles needing to go away. Like, they were able to do both. They were able to focus on the console version and focus on the computer version, despite the gap in between the releases. And so it's unfortunate that The Witcher couldn't use the manpower or the time or whatever it would be necessary to pour that into the PC version. But it's like he said, they need to accommodate for the console version if they want to release the game at all. And so you just got to suck it up,
Yeah,
Also, just to add to that, oh, sorry, Chris.
Go for it, Joe.
Yeah, just even outside of all the explanations they're giving, the first thing they said says it all. It's a vertical slice. We see all the time what vertical slice means. It's just where their ambition is, and that's definitely commendable. And the fact of the matter is that's never going to be what you get in the end. It's so far in the future that you're getting this glimpse into what the game hopefully will be. And you gotta cut them some slack that this was ages before before they found out tons of things that were going to be issues, let alone just the restrictions of consoles and things like that. What's more concerning to me as a console gamer, primarily PC gaming, is that it's telling us that these consoles are already kind of not antiquated, but just they're already so limiting that they were proving difficult to make something as ambitious as what Witcher's vertical slice looked like.
Yeah,
so that's my only.
Yeah, yeah, Joe, you're still kind of in and out. But I caught what you said, and definitely agree with the sentiment that typically PC is in the lead when the consoles are old, but when the consoles come out, they are the lead platform and they can be the graphical powerhouse. But not this time. Like, PC has just pulled out so far ahead that I don't think we'll ever see console gaming catch up again.
Yeah, and I think the controversy behind the whole vertical slice comment is it's really understandable that they would have a vertical slice demonstration and not be able to eventually meet that ambition. But the controversy comes when they said, oh, don't worry, the PC version won't be held back from the consoles, when at the end of the day, they admitted to it being held back by the consoles. They kind of went out on a limb and said, we think we can make the PC version match this. And while they will have a patch coming to improve the PC graphics, they kind of contradicted themselves, which I think is where the complaints are coming from. But, it is understandable that the vertical slice wouldn't be able to meet the final product, and it's just one of the unfortunate realities we have to deal with. Bottom line, though, the game looks beautiful, and from what I hear, I haven't been able to play it personally. I've been able to watch a few Let's Plays, and from what I hear from other people, it's also just an amazing game with tons of content to enjoy. I think we're going to be all right.
All right, moving on. Need for Speed is getting a reboot, and you'll probably be the best person to talk to on this show, because I haven't played a Need for Speed game in a couple consoles.
Yeah.
And I just kind of assumed that Need for Speed was generic EA talk for a game with cars at this point, and that they had 12 different universes going on and whatnot, and the stories never really meant or mattered. So I don't know. Like, they could have just come out with a new Need for Speed : new game, and that would have been the same to me as them coming out for a Need for Speed : reboot.
And I think the appealing thing behind this news is I read just the summary headline that said Need for Speed's being rebooted, and it's like, how is that a big deal? How is that news? It's just another Need for Speed. But the interesting part of it was the developers take that people don't really know what Need for Speed is, besides, like you said, just another generic car racing game. And so it seems like the direction they're trying to go with the reboot is making it a unique experience where there's Gran Turismo and Forza and Drive Club and all of that out there. Like, they're trying to make Need for Speed something unique and special again, where it's kind of lost that charm with all of the colon whatever games. And so I think there's some hope in those remarks that it's going to be a new direction for the series and kind of try to funnel into one specific idea, but I could also see it just becoming another generic car game. Either way, I'm excited because I want to get into the racing genre, but there hasn't really been a racing game that's captivated me. So besides like Grand Theft Auto racing modes.
What about you, Brooks? Do you think this is just marketing speak, or do you think this means anything?
I'm not a real big racing fan myself, but apparently this game is supposed to focus more on going back to its roots, focusing more on urban and underground racing, with more of a focus on car culture. What that would mean to me is it might not be as many vehicles to choose from, but you're supposed to have a much deeper amount of customization, meaning tires, engines, everything. You just go for the works. If that's the case, a lot of fans might really get into that.
Yeah, people love to customize nowadays. If they can get in there and just make it their own, I think people will eat that up, especially where other racing games are kind of just giving you pre-made cars that are famous. If this can make it your own experience, I think that'll really set it apart in a positive way.
Joe, are you out of the tunnel?
I'm not sure. You can tell me.
You're okay.
Sounds good to me.
Anything?
Yeah, you're fine.
Hello?
You're
Hey,
good.
can
You're
you
good
hear
on
me?
art. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I'm out of the tunnel, but, no idea. I don't play Need for Speed games. I don't really play racing games much, so I don't have much, I'm kind of out of my element here, but, just the idea that Need for Speed was rebooting just sounded odd to me because I'm just thinking, I didn't think there was a story really there, so I had no idea. So yeah, not much to contribute, but if Brooks is happy and the fans are happy, then I'm happy. So that's as much as I can say, really.
All right. Next story, we will talk about more than we should. Doom. And by that I mean the fact that the trailer that they showed is so committal to anything really. Basically, Doom showed 2 seconds of footage, and Bethesda showed 2 seconds of footage and said, "Doom's coming to E3."
I mean, that's all they need to do,
It's interesting that they'd show it before E3, like it's such a big deal that we're having a Bethesda conference at E3, and if they're showing stuff before E3, I mean, they better have Fallout 4 there is all I'm saying. If they're going to start showing trailers for other games before E3, like what are you saving for E3 then?
Yeah, I agree with you, Kaz. Is it okay if I call you Kaz?
Yeah, perfect.
But like E3, as us, as people who are on IGN blogging, talking about this stuff all the time, E3 never surprises me anymore. I feel it's good, it's enjoyable. Like there are good conferences and good experiences, but I think that we can name 95% of the games that are going to be revealed and shown without guessing because they already tell us, and so that just kind of loses the appeal of it all. And I think someone's eating.
I think you definitely have a point. We definitely see now a pattern with games. I mean, there's very rarely things that are really pushed to the front as far as new IP is concerned. So it makes it a lot easier for us to predict when they're, what kind of games, what kind of franchises are going to be coming back. And I guess that's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, I've certainly been surprised by some of the past E3s. 2013 was like an explosion of, just a lot of really cool back and forth. Sony's conference was huge. The way that they unveiled PS4 was so explosive that, it's still affecting things that are happening today, and will continue for the entire console's life. So, for games, maybe, yeah, it's hard for them to get the wow factor nowadays, especially with, how overexposed everything is with the internet and with us blogging about everything. But I mean, as far as hardware goes or just business, just things in the actual, business front, those things really do surprise me. And I will get some serious surprises this year, especially with things like VR and stuff like that. But that's another conversation.
Circling it back to Doom, do we care?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I don't know, when was the last time Doom was like really relevant? Like I know I mean, maybe I'm just like out of the loop or something, but it just seems like to me it's never been like a big phenomenon in the modern day gaming culture. And so to have like, I mean, for some people, like that quick little snippet they showed is going to be a huge deal and build up a lot of hype and excitement for the E3 conference. But for other people, it's like, all right, I just want Fallout 4, you know, because that's all like, or a new Elder Scrolls, like that's all Bethesda's starting to become known for. And so bringing back this Doom. I guess they do like Dishonored and stuff. I mean, people are gonna chew me apart for saying that that's all Bethesda's known for. They're known for a lot more. Don't hate me. But with Doom though, I mean, it just seems like it's been a long time since that's been at least popular in the mainstream gaming world. And maybe I'm wrong with that, but I just don't see that.
You're definitely on point. Yeah, like it's a big move to go with Doom. I mean, clearly the cult, you know, there's this that, you know, is overexcited about this and are, you know, pissing their pants over this, obviously. But, I mean, besides that, it's definitely a strange move, you know, definitely one that I think only Bethesda and maybe a couple other producers could get away with, I mean, publishers. But, I think that if they follow through with their promises, then it could definitely be interesting. I don't know how they're going to follow through with that. Like, they say that it's going to, you know, revitalize shooters, but at the same time go back to its roots. And it's just, so what does that mean? You know, its roots were so bare bone for shooters. You know, it pretty much started what shooters are now. So it's a very interesting, very unique move that they're going for here.
Yeah, if they go back to the way shooters were before, I mean, there's just such a standard nowadays to have quick movements. I mean, all sorts of capabilities to jump all over. So it'll be weird to see how they go back to their roots while also embracing modern shooters. What were you going to say, Brooks, though?
I'm a big fan of Wolfenstein and Doom. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, with all the MOBAs like Call of Duty and Battlefield, et cetera, they kind of went by the wayside. Now, I have no idea what they mean by going back to their roots. Are they talking first person or third person or what's going on? Because Doom and Wolfenstein had relatively simple gameplay. You know, just go through tunnels, shoot, et cetera. So I'm wondering how are they supposed to make this more exciting for other types of shooter fans? What exactly are they going to do? Because those little trailers they showed didn't show anything.
I think that's just them beating their own drum. You know, Titanfall was going to change first-person shooters. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was going to. So I don't know. I mean, this is just the hype train.
Honestly, though, Titanfall and Advanced Warfare did really shake things up. I mean, you look at something like Halo 5 and how it's approaching its multiplayer and how it is getting a lot quicker and stuff because of things like Titanfall and Advanced Warfare, really encouraging those echo suits that allow you to dash and jump and do a double jump in the air when before you play these retro shooters that really all you're doing is just running around and shooting, which was what a shooter was, you know. Now it's so much more acrobatic and stuff like that. I mean, they did do a pretty good job at shaking things up, and so it's going to be weird to see if a game doesn't have those features. Will it be viewed as slow and not well received, or will it be a refreshing, basic, and simple experience that people will enjoy?
I definitely agree. Like, Titanfall may not have been the explosive phenomenon that every hope, especially, you know, Xbox fanboys and what have you, but I mean, it definitely started, or, you know, was part of the, you know, the beginning eras of like changing what shooters are now, you know, getting back to mobility and really pushing that. And, you know, that was clearly resonated into Call of Duty, although that, you know, Advanced Warfare was obviously, you know, in development but before and while Titanfall was, so they didn't copy Titanfall. But I mean, it's clear that these two games were, you know, definitely pushing the genre forward from just the regular, you know, Twitch shooters that we've been seeing beforehand. So, yeah, definitely agree.
All right. Moving on for Bloodborne news. Shuhei Yoshida just quickly said an expansion's coming.
Oh, Shu.
Don't know when, don't know what it is, don't know how much it will cost, but you know, the game's a surprise success for Sony. They've said they're very happy with its numbers for being a, you know, relatively new console generation, single platform, selling over 1 million. So we'll see. For Bloodborne fans, more Bloodborne. So I hope they definitely can deliver that promise and push it through.
So who here has played Bloodborne?
I
I
played
have.
it a little.
Yep.
Yeah, I started it, and I was one of those poor souls that just could not get through, to the first boss. Like I put it away, and haven't gone back to it quite yet because I couldn't find myself a save point, and they just don't want me to find it. They don't want me to get there, So it was really tough for me to go. I'll definitely go back. But
Yeah.
thinking about expansions, it's just like, oh, let me get halfway through this game,
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
The one thing I've noticed about Bloodborne, unlike Demon Souls and Dark Souls, sure the game is hard, but it's fun.
It's definitely fun. Yeah,
I played
I'm a
Dark
fan,
Souls, and it wasn't fun, which is hard.
Yeah. And that's fun is like a whole subjective thing for people. I mean, there's people
Yeah.
that just worship Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and I hadn't played those games, but I came in at Bloodborne, and it's definitely very challenging. But I made it through about the first 3 or 4 bosses, and was in love with it. Especially when they added in Spotify to the PlayStation 4, I would kick on a like kind of dreary mood themed Spotify playlist and just waste hours on Bloodborne trying to get through. And so it's definitely exciting. There's just not many details to talk about now with what else they'd add, but I assume they're just going to add bosses and maybe different weapon packs and stuff. I mean, it seems like I was watching Colin and Greg live today, and Colin made a comment that honestly From Software probably has no idea what the DLC is going to be. She was just asked a question about Bloodborne and said, yep, we're making DLC. And I bet now From Software has the memo in the mail that says you guys better start making some DLC because Shu said so. And so it's a success. it's a success, and they wanna feed off it. And honestly, the fact that they're just approaching it after the release gives me a good feeling that they're not just going to try to milk a very successful game, that they're actually going to try to put some effort into whatever content they release going forward.
I mean, I never played a Souls game before, but I mean, I have heard, just reading reviews on IGN and what have you, that the Souls expansions have always been, exceptional at the least. So yeah, I'm sure they'll definitely put their best foot forward, and definitely not give us just some arbitrary skins and just like, I mean, weapon packs. I don't know. I guess that would be cool. I haven't played enough of the game to know, but I'm sure they'll try and give us some compelling content, based on their past, I would assume.
I just assume they'll try and do something like Bloodborne Demon Souls mode, where you go back to the old tankier controls, less mobility. And...
Yeah, people would love that though. Like, I mean, there's so many people that they genuinely do love Bloodborne and the new fast-paced action of it, but there's lots of people that do miss the classic feel of Demon Souls and Dark Souls and how slow that could be. And especially when, what was it, Dark Souls 2 had that remaster that just came out. I know a lot of people left Bloodborne to go play that because they missed the more tankier controls. So if they could implement a mode like that, or even just like an armor pack that makes you a little slower, people would eat that up.
Yeah, I think that what you're referring to is Scholar of the First Sin.
Yeah, that.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, and that's kind of the hip thing to do, like with a new game or a new IP or what have you from a developer that everyone knows for this game or this series or whatever, to kind of bring back like this. Okay, now we're going to give you this mode. Brings back all just the nostalgia factor. Like you see it in a lot of indie games now. Like Shovel Knight, they did the whole Battletoads mode, which I heard was like just like Battletoads. I heard that like Ukulele's going to have a 64 filter type thing, so it looks like a N64 game. And that's kind of different, but at the same time, it's kind of catering to that idea of using something from a developer's past to kind of cater to their audience and get them back in the game.
Catering audiences segues nicely into the next story for Divinity Original Sin. I've never played this game, but a podcast I listened to called DLC with Jeff Kanata, he champions this game and says it's one of his favorite game of last year. Divinity Original Sin, action RPG for PC only. It's now coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 with an enhanced edition. and that enhanced edition will also be available on PC, Mac, SteamOS. That's probably not enough for me to include this story, but what does make this interesting is that everybody who owns the original Sin version right now will have the enhanced edition for free.
Seriously?
And it's a completely separate game.
Whoa.
It has a different ending, different story, local co-op, controller support. So I mean, this is great fan service. This is staying true to your roots. I mean, it's basically like a very souped up Game of the Year edition. And they're just giving it out for people who own the current one. So.
Yeah, people would stop complaining so much more often about remasters if they were able to get them for free. if they own the original, there'd be literally no more complaints if it was like, all right, you own the original Last of Us, here's the remaster for free. But I don't know, they have people like me that are buying the remasters all the time, so they're never gonna do that.
Yeah,
well,
definitely. Sorry.
Oh no, I guess these guys are doing it.
Yeah. Do you buy remastered of games you already own?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think if I have. Most of the remasters that I've indulged in have been, because I came from Xbox 360. Now I have, a buttload of consoles sitting on my entertainment system. So, I missed out on a lot of great, great exclusives. So, I picked up Last of Us. I was gonna pick up. I'm not sure. Like it was mostly just. I picked up Tomb Raider because I missed the boat on that one. But yeah, mostly just what I missed. I don't think I've actually rebought a game that I already have for the definitive edition.
Yeah, I got the Last of Us remastered after owning the original, and that was mainly for I wanted to replay it with the updated graphics, but it also did have the standalone DLC in there and the grounded mode, so I was able to replay all that, and it really felt like a fresh experience. And then I got the Grand Theft Auto, I guess that wasn't remastered, it was just like the next gen version, and that had first person mode. And it was also where
I got that too, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll probably eventually buy the PC version as well and end up having 3 copies of that game, which Rockstar, how dare you? Like,
exactly.
Has a lot of money.
You have to do it, Like for some reason GTA you have to buy it 3 times apparently. But, I'm in the same boat. If I ever get into PC gaming, like I want to see those mods. I want to be flying around Los Santos and dropping nukes from my mouth or whatever they have for me. Whatever. I'll buy it 3 times.
That's the thing about these remasters. There's usually a lot of new content and new modes, so it's usually worth investing in them.
Yeah, of course.
Especially like you were saying before.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like you were saying before about not owning the previous system and getting a new one. That's a great idea to pick up these remasters because it's going to be really difficult to get the old versions or the old system.
Yeah, that's the thing about these remasters is they're as much as we like to complain. Well, at least I like to complain. I unfortunately am one of those guys feeling negatively about them until something that works for me. Something that I haven't played before, or something that adds a new mode like first person mode. I'll complain about it until all of a sudden it's something I want, and that's why we're not going to see the end of them anytime soon.
I mean, what are your complaints? Because I mean, I know that Sony or the big studios might put them out, but it's not like their bread and butter development teams are working on these. They typically send them to a third-party vendor who deals in remastered, so it's not taking resources away from anything. So it's just putting more product on shelves and another opportunity for point of purchase for somebody who never had it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the complaints like originally when I first started seeing them was definitely from a more ignorant place, thinking that the developers were working on these things and they were spending time on that instead of creating new content. So the original complaints were definitely from a more ignorant perspective, and I'm more the wiser now, of course. And honestly,
now it's just habit.
Yeah. Now I'm just a cynical jerk. So I'll just keep going with that.
I think another complaint that people have is, I mean, you say that they give the games off to like other developers and stuff to work on, while the more meatier studios are working on new IPs or new iterations of games. But I think even then you could still argue that you are maybe wasting talent with those people that are doing the remasters, because maybe they could be used somewhere else. Although I don't know. I think that's just a great way to use them, and people are buying the remasters, which in turn gives more money for the original development studio, and people that haven't played the game get to play it now. And I mean, so I think it's overall a positive thing to have these remasters, but I've also heard the argument that it takes away from the original release because it makes it not as special, but I don't know. That seems like a rather silly argument to me. I've never completely understood that or supported it.
Real
Yeah.
quick.
Oh,
Joe.
sorry.
No, I mean, video games is almost the only medium where that's a valid argument to some people. Because musics go from record to CD to MP3. Movies go from VHS to Blu-ray to digital download. But yet somehow, like, it's like, oh, it's different, or it's upgraded, or it's on a different console. That somehow that makes it less true to its original spirit, and that way it kind of deforms the whole process.
The only complaint that I still have, that was one of the more initial complaints, and I still definitely feel validated, is that we can kiss backwards compatibility goodbye. Like there's very few things that I think they'll feel not even obligated, just they'll give the good grace to just give us to replay again if we just have a copy of it. Like you said, if they gave out the re-releases for free, then obviously I wouldn't be complaining. But yeah, like backwards compatibility is now gone, and soon we'll forget that. Soon we'll forget that we once were able to just pop in a game from any console. And I mean, backwards compatibility is a difficult thing to do. The PS3 was the first to really not be able to do that, and it wasn't because it was a marketing tactic. It might have been, but moreover, they were two completely different beasts. And so I understand that, but I mean, if you're going to make a port and put it up on the internet, technically that's backwards compatibility, and mostly they're just making money off of that. So that's my only real complaint. Otherwise, I definitely agree. It's moreover a positive experience. I'm definitely enjoying playing all the games that I haven't played before. I'm waiting on Journey. I'm definitely excited for the games to come to these new consoles.
PC Master Race, don't have to worry about backwards compatibility.
Yeah, there you go.
We're gamers, we demand purity. Don't change our games.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to touch on that whole Blu-ray argument, I actually hadn't heard that before, where it's like we don't complain about music getting upgraded, we don't complain about TV getting updated or shows getting upgraded, but I think there have been a few complaints with like something like Star Wars, for example, where they upgrade the visuals on that and people like went crazy because they like completely changed the feel of some of those of the original trilogy. And I just feel like the reason we don't see complaints so much about like VHSs upgrading to DVDs and then Blu-rays is because they usually just stay the same but just look a little more crisp or a little more vivid, but the original vision is still intact, where with the remasters you're kind of getting different features added in, and people that had the original are like, why didn't I have that, And so I feel like that's maybe where the difference comes in, but overall I think that is a pretty good argument, that why are we complaining about this being upgraded when literally every other form of art or entertainment out there is being upgraded all the time.
All right, I think that's a great argument, especially great counterpoint, especially given the Star Wars original release versus the enhanced Super Edition, which apparently will be the only one you can buy forever.
Don't get me started on those. No.
Okay, I
don't
won't.
even get me started.
So just to close, Larian Studios giving out a game for free basically to people who own it. Great customer service, great fan service.
Yeah, well done.
Speaking of like fan service, something that I completely missed last year, but supposedly Sony E3 is going to be in theaters. And this was the first time they've done this?
Yeah, that was last year.
I totally glossed over that.
Yeah, no, never heard a thing about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, last year I saw several friends go and check out the conference there, which I honestly didn't understand really. I mean, I guess you get that hype of being around people and you're all shouting and watching the announcements. It feels like you're at a little mini E3.
Oh,
but
for sure.
I prefer watching from the comfort of my room or on my computer and stuff. But it's definitely a cool idea to have that hype spread everywhere. And it'd honestly be nice for Nintendo to do this with their digital event, like have it actually in theaters and stuff, because then it'd feel like they're still having a conference. But well done to Sony for having this idea. And yeah, I remember it last year. It was a really hype thing.
I'm planning on going. Like, I'm going to check to see if it's in my city. I'm not going to drive for it. Like, it needs to be in my city. If it's 2 hours away, Like, I'm not going to drive to Orlando for it, so
It
we'll see
all
what happens.
it all depends on where you're living, because it was supposed to be so popular last year that they expanded it. It's in 50 states now, including Hawaii and Alaska, and there are 3 locations in Canada that's going to have it.
Are
Yeah.
you?
Now. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to ask if you're interested in going.
Yeah, thinking about it now, that's pretty interesting. Like me and my buddies normally get together and watch the conferences. We have a day of it. We've taken off of work last year, and we watched everything and streamed it, and it was just frustrating because, like, I'm an idiot. I don't know how to stream everything. I try to use my IGN app or whatever, it doesn't work. So on conference, in theaters, like a couple of us, if I get people together, I would definitely consider it. I happen to live close to the city, so it'd probably be easy for me to find a theater that's so yeah, that's definitely something I'd do.
On the other end of the spectrum, last week we reported that the Nintendo World Championship was coming back and that you can compete in Best Buys. Now we need to cut our hopes and dreams down. I didn't think I was going to win, but I was curious to just see how I did and go, no, it's only 8 Best Buys in the entire country.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely buried the lead on that one.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, who would have thought Nintendo would make something very, very exclusive and not allow things to be, like, it's typical Nintendo,
Oh, yeah, they never done that before.
Yeah, really. Just making things as completely unavailable to you as possible. Making you want. I guess it's a tactic. Making you want it more. Like creating a scarcity of Wii's and the new 3DS. But like, why? What is? I mean, do you guys have ideas like why this would be the case? Like, is it financial issues? Like, I
think they just really want to make sure that the Nintendo World Championship has like the best of the best, and they want to make sure that they can really monitor or moderate the people coming into it and stuff, especially since it's going to be like their big thing at E3. And so maybe they just want to like have less locations so they can really just funnel people through and filter them out. But it's unfortunate. But I'm honestly surprised that like they're even having like it's so spread out across like all these different locations. Like I would think that they just have like people that come to the door at E3 would be the only ones that could try out. So I'm impressed with anything. My standards are so low now with Nintendo. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them to death. But the fact that it's even more than just one Best Buy makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I mean, they also mentioned sorry Brooks. They also mentioned Mario Maker would be available at select Best Buys during E3. Are we going to assume that it's probably going to be just these 8 again?
Ooh, good question.
No, I think that would be a little more, just because that's, I mean, like I was saying earlier with my argument that I think the Nintendo Championship thing is because of just moderating it. I think the Mario Maker thing will be a lot easier. Like when they did the Smash Fest and sent all those Wii U's out to Best Buys with Smash Bros on it. I think this will be a similar thing. The only part of that news that bummed me out with Mario Maker being their Best Buy game is it seems like maybe that's like their big release this fall.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what they're pushing for now.
Yeah, and I love the idea of Mario Maker. Like, it looks amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. That show they had where they showed all the unique levels you can make was definitely interesting, but I wanted Galaxy 3 or something. And the fact that Mario Maker is like the big thing they're pushing makes me feel like there's not going to be much beyond Star Fox U. Yeah, beyond again. Beyond Star Fox U.
I see what you're saying for sure. I just, being delusionally hopeful, I don't believe that Mario Galaxy or the next 3D Mario, Epic is completely out of the cards. And I don't think this would necessarily bode well to that, just because Mario Maker seems like something that would be a little easier just to grab and go at a Best Buy. Whereas something like,
That's true.
Galaxy, you kind of had to learn how to play that game.
Yeah.
Like Mario 64 was readily available, before release at like GameStops or wherever it was. And but I mean, that's pretty easy to grab because it's just, here's the 3D playground.
Yeah, and that's
Whereas
true that
Galaxy's, Sorry,
Mario
Keith,
Maker.
go.
Oh no, that's true. That I was just gonna agree that like Mario Maker has those quick little levels you can do at Best Buys where you can have a line of people that go and just do one quick level and try out. editing it themselves. Maybe even have the next person in line try out what you just made, where any other game really they're releasing, like Star Fox, is more of a grand adventure, and even Zelda U is more like you can't just sit down at a demo and try that out, where Mario Maker is much more tailored to that. So yeah, good point.
What are your thoughts on this, Brooks?
I don't have much. I don't have much to go on here.
Well said.
No. Backing up to something that you said, Joe, and I think Kaz kind of mentioned, like Super Mario Galaxy 3. You guys are crazy if you think that a Wii U game is going to come out that has not already been announced. We're getting Mario Maker, Star Fox, Yoshi's Woolly World, Xenoblade, and Zelda Wii U, and that's it. Like,
well, that's the thing.
There's nothing hidden in the vault.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, like, the fact that it's just there's nothing else at the Best Buy, or like that they haven't had a direct to push Insling to the Best Buy events, just kind of makes me nervous, because I feel like last year, or what was it, 2 years ago, where they did like the Best Buy event, it seemed like they just had a lot more pushing for it. Like, they had the 3D World thing, and it just, all of it was coming out this year, and there seemed to be a lot more hype about having the Best Buy basically be a show floor of E3, where this year it seems like all they really have is Mario Maker that they're pushing. I mean, why isn't like a little demo of Woolly World at Best Buy locations or something like that, you know?
You know, I was excited about this podcast, but you guys, and you're bringing me down, naysaying to Mario. It's coming, man. I'm good. You're dragging me down, man. Losing hope.
Staying on Nintendo, bouncing around the agenda, Kaz, do you want to talk about these Wave 4 amiibos?
Yeah, briefly. I mean, there's plenty of amiibo talk floating around the internet, and I don't have too much to add, but I just thought it was just an interesting story I read today that the Wave 4 amiibo, every single one of them is going to be at the Nintendo World Store, including the ones that are exclusive to Toys R Us and GameStop and Best Buy and all that, which normally has been a lot of grief for people because they haven't been able to get them if they don't have a Best Buy in their town or if they don't have Toys R Us, and so it's going to be nice. I guess they don't have a Nintendo World Store either, so... but it's just going to be nice that they're even exploring that possibility of having exclusives or amiibo exclusives not at their exclusive stores. And hopefully it leads to maybe them being available online or something, like they're toying with the idea of just distributing them from their own doors. And so I thought that was an interesting direction that they're taking, especially when they've promised so often that they're going to deliver more amiibos and have a better initiative of getting them out there. But once again, as I've said, my standard with Nintendo is so low.
I generally feel about Amiibo is the same way I feel about Wii U. It's just that it's just this idea that someone had that they had hoped, you know, just it would just branch out into more ideas later. So they just went with it because they have money and because they know that, you know, their IPs are, you know, are money and they could just do what they want. And then just they're not doing anything with it. I mean, they're obviously doing something with each game they come out with, but nothing that's compelled me, you know. And the Toys to Life market is really starting to evolve now. You know, you got Lego's Dimensions coming out, and I don't know. This so far really it's done nothing for me. The only thing the only way that Amiibo exists in my mind is I go to GameStop and there's this one Link figurine that just stares me down every time I go in, and I just have to tell myself, don't do it, man. Just stay out of this. You'll be fine. They'll go away, and you don't have to get addicted to these toys.
Oh, I don't think they're going to go away at all. It's going to be more and more. Because I think, I mean, it's like it's the whole PlayStation thing or PlayStation 4 thing where, I mean, Sony's not really doing much as far as exclusives go, and yet people are still buying PlayStation 4s. And it's like Nintendo's not doing much with Amiibo, and yet people are still frantically buying Amiibo. And so they're going to expand into different series and different lines of Amiibos and different waves and all of that. And they're definitely not going away. I just hope that they make it a little bit easier on us so we can have a little bit less anxiety.
All I need is for that Link figurine to go away. That's all I need. If that happens, I'll be set.
I hope they do a Zelda line with the new Zelda U coming out.
Oh, you're killing me.
So it sounds like you don't own any, Joe. Is that correct?
No, I've avoided the whole addiction, thankfully enough.
What about you, Kaz?
I'm looking up at a shelf right now of about 15, I think, is what I have. And so I have like Mario and like all of them. I have the Sonic one. Was able to get the Wii Fit trainer, and
you're lucky.
Yeah.
And so
I was worried.
And so I have a couple of the rare runs. I have a Toon Link, which I don't think he's too rare anymore, but I love Toon Link, and they just look so good up on my shelf right now. It's like a little group of characters up there. I mean, because I bought originally Wii Fit Trainer and Link, and they just look so weird just being next to each other, so I had to buy the entire Mario line. And next thing you know, I have the Pokemon as well, and it was a mess. But I mean, I'm still looking for more, and I'm planning on getting them all eventually, even if I have to pay a lot, just because I'm a hardcore collector in that way. So I don't mind it. I love finally having Nintendo figurines in any capacity, and the fact that they can do something in game is an actual bonus to me. I would have bought them even if they were just vain toys.
All right. Let's just power through these stories real quick. Xbox boss Phil Spencer says Kinect is still viable. I think he's lying. With the second it got unbundled, nobody cared.
It's just like the Vita.
Yeah, you're right.
You can still do things with the Vita, though.
Oh, they do?
Kinda.
Other people do stuff with the Vita. Sony has kind of given up on it. But, no, I mean, it's just they kind of shot themselves in the foot the moment they took it out of the bundle. And, I mean, I guess they saved the Xbox in that way or really helped push sales of that when they were able to bring the price down. But what developer is going to try to go for Kinect if it's not a guarantee that the customer is going to have it? I think they should have kept that in and had that kind of be their unique thing as the Xbox, just like the Wii U has the gamepad.
Yeah, Spencer seems to want to, Phil seems to want to focus more on the voice and the camera features in it. And I don't see why not, considering how many millions they invested in the research for this thing. But they might have to give some developers some incentive to, include some functionality in a few more games or to develop some. Because I can't think of any killer app they can make that would get people to want to just go out and pick up a bundle with the Kinect or just buy a Kinect separately.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of giving incentive to developers or giving them some extra funding to compensate for the people not having a Kinect. But I mean, I liked the thing. What was it? The 360 had where in Skyrim you could yell the dragon shouts and it would actually work in game. Stuff like that's cool. I mean, it's just an added immersion to the game, and they really just need to start doing that, where they just add little things to each game, not necessarily the whole game founded in the Kinect, but just an added perk to owning a Kinect, and that stuff will start to add up. I think just like the gamepad is able to just be a nice, convenient inventory or map to games. It doesn't necessarily need to be the game doesn't necessarily need to be based around the use of the gamepad, but when I played Zelda Wind Waker HD. And was able to just swap my inventory around with that gamepad. It was so nice. And with games like Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed, where you can just look down at all of the collectibles down on your gamepad, it's just a nice added convenience. And so I think they need to start doing things like that with the Kinect, where it's just not necessarily Kinect Sports, where you need to be flailing your body around the living room, but just if you're able to say things or do quick motions to make the game easier, I think that'll really start to sell.
Yeah, agreed. You don't need to focus on these, basically peripherals. You can just, utilize them and make them, like you said, more convenient. Just let them do what they can do, and let it be,
I can't wait till 20 years when Kinect's as good as the proof of concept footage that they originally showed.
Yeah.
With the kids scanning the skateboard in and the girl changing clothes and then doing everything for her.
That's kind of a nice segue to the HoloLens thing, because what's that?
Aha, there you are.
And like Kaz said, HoloLens, Casey Hudson, formerly of BioWare, more specifically Mass Effect, is working on HoloLens as his primary role with Microsoft moving forward.
Right on.
Apparently this thing... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Apparently this thing, remember the Xbox One game when you had the fighting game where you could actually have live areas that you could put the fighters in?
No, I don't
know.
But keep going.
Yeah. Well, basically the way this thing works is you put your little virtual reality helmet on and the headset, and it puts images on the real world. Basically, you got virtual images on the real world.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. It's just how well they're going to be able to execute it. And you go back to the whole Kinect problem, where how many developers are going to use that, I mean, unless they completely force this into the new Xbox or the Xbox 2, whatever they want to do with that. I mean, unless they can
Xbox 2.
push that.
I thought
like,
there was an Xbox 2. What's happening?
unless they like really push that. I mean, I just don't feel like there's going to be a lot of support for this beyond just like silly little tech demos or something, or they just completely go a different direction with it. But I don't know. I'm skeptical of this. As impressing as the footage they've shown of it has been, I don't know. Don't really know how well it's going to go. Just like because the Kinect had a very promising start as well, but now all we see is just silly little sports games.
Agreed. It might be years before we get any decent games to make use of it.
Yeah.
Hudson being attached to HoloLens seems kind of like, maybe I don't know what he does, because I mean, like, he was part of the architect of the Mass Effect universe, which was a video game, but this feels more hardware software development and less design directorial. So it just, I don't know, like, it seems like a odd transition.
Yeah,
Right. We don't. Sorry.
I'm sorry. He's supposed to be a creative director, so I'm assuming he's making software for the thing or something.
Yeah, like, is this an idea to like go ahead with gaming for the HoloLens? I mean, that didn't seem like that was what they were gearing up for. Besides, just showing off Minecraft, which was, just Minecraft is huge. So besides being gaming, so I didn't see it as, them focusing on a gaming aspect of the, of the hardware. I just so I'm curious as to what Hudson does. Yeah, like you said.
And last piece of news, Ashley Johnson. You might not know the name, but you definitely know the voice of Ellie from Last of Us. Is tagged with being in Tales from the Borderlands Episode 3.
Oh.
It's gonna be awesome.
And the article says she'll be a core, in quotes, character. Unless she's getting unless they're recasting somebody, I don't know. I mean, that just sounds like they're just adding a new character to the Borderlands universe.
Yeah, I mean, it's really awesome that she's kind of doing something. From what I was gathering from interviews surrounding The Last of Us, it seemed like she was always just kind of focused on The Last of Us, and that was kind of her thing, and she never really mentioned getting like back into other voice acting roles. It was always kind of Troy Baker leading the helm, where he was saying, "Oh, this is another project I'm working on," or "This is my approach to voice acting." While Ashley Johnson was always more like, "Here's how I approached Ellie," not necessarily voice acting in general. And so, where I kind of gather from this, as far as her being in the next episode of Tales from the Borderlands, is that maybe she's going to explore more voice acting, and she's so incredibly talented. I mean, her portrayal of Ellie was just brilliant, and so I'm just hoping that it's a sign that she's going to be going on to even more things beyond. Don't say
do it.
No,
expanding beyond. No, darn it. Okay, no. The Last of Us, and also Tales from the Borderlands is just an incredible game. I was very surprised with how much I enjoyed Episode 1. I haven't played Episode 2 yet, just haven't had the time to, but it's very, very funny, very entertaining, and I'm surprised at how much depth the story has compared to Borderlands' normal just go around and shoot up mayhem. Like, it's been a very compelling story and lots of interesting choices to make, so very exciting to have that talent on there and such a great franchise going.
All right, wrapping up the show, Brooks, what have you been playing?
I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics. I got Cloud, but it's taking forever to level him up. So I've been playing Captain Commando. It's an old Capcom game that features 4 characters. It's like Final Fight, side-scroller.
Okay, nice. Do you recommend it?
Oh, yeah, big time. You'd have to invest in a Capcom collection for the PS3, the Xbox 360. It's probably on the virtual consoles for both systems, so you should be able to pick it up easy.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I recently got Witcher 3, so I've been delving into that whenever I can. Haven't gotten far at all. Haven't even killed the Griffin yet. So, but I've been like riding around just looking at stuff, and it is gorgeous. So, definitely interested to get far into that. Before that, I was actually coming off of Titan Souls, Was playing mostly that on the Vita, and that's one of my favorite games that's come out this year so far. So really cool. I'm still loving the pixelated, the pixel art fad that's kind of going around. So that was really good, but just really solid gameplay. So yeah, I've just been finishing that, trying to platinum it, and it's I deemed it impossible, so moved on to The Witcher.
What trophy broke you?
Oh God, like you have to play on iron mode and iron and hard mode. Iron mode, like if you die, you start over, and it's one hit kill. And on hard mode, which means that the bosses they're the same bosses, but they're just sped up or they're altered in a way that they're just impossible. And yeah, like I got iron mode. I didn't get iron mode. No, I got hard mode finished, and then there's a trophy to do iron mode. And then there's a trophy to do, like, after not being able to do that, not be able to get past the first 4 bosses, which is just the intro to the game. I looked at the trophy list. I'm like, what am I getting myself into? Saw iron mode and hard mode both on, beat the game, and put it away forever.
That sounds like you have to do some cloud save manipulation to get that trophy.
Yeah, definitely have to do some time traveling or, some, like hard restarts or something, for sure.
All right, what have you been playing, Kaz?
I've just been cruising around Los Santos, playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PlayStation 4. I've actually been playing online. I haven't really done much of the story mode on the next gen since I beat it last gen, but I've been loving online mode, doing the daily objectives that they have, trying out the heist since I hadn't tried those yet. And beyond that, I've been writing a ton. So really, all I have time for is the Grand Theft Auto 5 daily objectives, maybe like a few little jobs that they have, and then I've just been writing just hours and hours and hours a day. So I'm hoping to try out. I got the new 3DS system, and I'll be touring this summer with my band, and so I'm excited to try out some mobile games. I really want to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS before I head out and just play more of that. But while I've been back home and have had some time to rest, I've just been very much so enjoying Grand Theft Auto 5. So pretty basic.
Yeah, it's funny once you start writing about video games, how much less time you have
to
play
actually
video
play
games.
Yeah, it's definitely been. I've been loving writing, and I've been trying to, since I'll be on tour this summer, I'm writing enough content now to schedule and release throughout the summer. And so today I wrote about 5 blogs. Yesterday I wrote about 5. I've written about 20 in the past week to release throughout the summer, so I can have weekday content. And I've also been writing fan fiction and to try that out, as well as been formatting some reviews to be posted. So it's normally I've had a lot of time to play games and write, but because I'm trying to do 2 months of work in about 2 weeks, it's been a little overwhelming, but definitely rewarding to see all the responses and discussions going on the blog. So worth it.
Well, more power to you. I picked up Final Fantasy Type 0 on the PS4. I played the Final Fantasy 15 demo first. I do not see myself buying that game. It's okay. It's just kind of repetitive. Combat's a little weird. Seems really grindy. And I know that's weird to say about a Final Fantasy game, but maybe I'm just too old for it. Like, just stupid stuff about having to walk around and, just like some of the design choices.
You're not wrong.
And then I started playing Type 0, and that is an interesting game. I don't know if I'll finish it. It is Final Fantasy in name only. Because the way the combat works, I didn't realize this, it is very action RPG-ish. You spend half your time dodging and then attacking. And no turn-based, no kind of normal tropes. Going through your menu, enemies can still attack you. And the camera is the worst enemy in that game. So, alright. If you're out there listening, definitely appreciate it. If you liked this episode, please like this episode on YouTube or iTunes or however you're catching it. If you want to hear more from us, I'm Chris, Peterson. I'm NerdyXP on IGN, Twitter. I have a website called NerdyXP. If you check it out on my IGN, it pretty much mirrors those same posts. I do another podcast focused on movies and television called the NerdyXP Cinecast. And I swear I'm not trying to say NerdyXP like an infomercial 12 times in a row. What about you, Brooks? Where can people check your stuff out?
You can find me on my IGN at Military Veteran Gamer, or you can follow me on Twitter at NavyNVG.
I didn't know that's who you were. Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Oh, great spy master.
What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm Joey Dag of Bonuts. That's Dag of Bonuts on my IGN. Also on Twitter, which I guess I should start actively, participating in, now that I'm getting like Twitter notifications. So yeah, you can find me blogging on my IGN, Joey Dag of Bonuts, or Twitter, Joey Dag of Bonuts.
Is that a Moe's reference?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the D and the B switched, but yeah,
Right.
Totally Moe's. I mean, my name is actually Joe, but yeah, I went for Joey Dag of Bonus. I actually, in a, full disclosure, a semi-drunken state when getting my PS4 had to make a PSN account, and thankfully enough, it wasn't something horrible because I didn't know that you couldn't ever change your PSN name. So thankfully, I landed on Joey Dag of Bonus, and I've been pretty much using that universally ever since.
Yeah, I'm Nightwing 900 on PlayStation Network. And
Super cool.
I would love to change it.
Oh, man.
So, Kaz, you mentioned you're on tour. Is that something people can check out, or do you do you have your music anywhere?
Yeah, I'm trying to we record a little bit of stuff during the school year, and I haven't got a copy of that final mix yet, but I would love to post that, and the moment I get that, I'll probably be sharing it in a blog. As far as where we're going to be playing, we're just going to be going around and playing at places at summer camps to be advertising our school and trying to recruit people to come check out our music program, and so I don't think there's really a way that anyone can kind of like come check out one of our shows, but I'll probably be sharing some updates and all of that. You can find me on IGN at KazRisk. That's just KazRisk. And I also tweet a lot. Same Twitter, KazRisk. And then everything as far as like finding me on Nintendo ID or Miiverse is KazRisk. The only thing that's different is if you want to play Grand Theft Auto Online with me or any other PS4 game, my PSN is Kaz_risk, and I hate that underscore so much. Like, why is it there? And I don't know. I mean, literally everything of mine is KazRisk, and just that simple thing, I don't know what compelled me to put that underscore in there. But it makes me have to make a quick disclaimer to say that. But yeah, I'll be tweeting a lot and posting as I'm on tour, and we'll be continuing to provide content and stuff. But definitely appreciate the support and stuff.
Yeah, so if you're hanging around a school, just tell them you're waiting for Kaz to show up, no matter how many weird looks you get.
Yeah,
So...
by the way, why are you hanging around school? Don't worry about it.
Well, thank you guys for being on the show. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you, Brooks.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kaz.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you out there for listening. I hoped that you guys liked this week's episode, and that we were able to help you with your gaming IQ. Level up, friends.
Beyond!
You know that's not the show.
Beyond!
I'm not on Beyond right now?
What's going on, Internet? Just want to say thank you for listening to this week's episode, all the way past the outro music. Just want to give you a heads up that next week we will not be recording, as I will be live from MomoCon. So definitely check out what's on schedule there, and if you have anybody who jumps out at you, let me know, and I will try and give them a holler, and let me know what you want to talk about. Thanks, and level up, friends.